Daniel chapter 10, verses 20 through 21 says, I'm studying through the book of Daniel, and in those passages, who is the prince of Persia, and why is Michael fighting the prince of Persia?
Right. Let me get there and let me read it. And so basically the premise in chapter 10 is that Daniel had been fasting for 3 weeks. He wanted to hear some things from the Lord, and a messenger is sent to him, and he's delayed for 3 weeks. And so when you look down in verse 10, it says, suddenly a hand touched me, Daniel speaking, and he said to me, verse 11, O Daniel, man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak to you and stand upright, for I've now been sent to you. And then he said to me, verse 12, do not fear, for from the first day that you set your heart to understand and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I've come because of your word. So that lets you know that 21 days before, the angel was sent by God. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days, and behold, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, for I had been left alone there with the kings of Persia. And now I've come to make you understand what will happen to your people in the latter days, for the vision refers to many days yet to come. Okay? And then he ends it up with, down in, let's see, verse 20, it says, then he said, do you know why I've come to you? And now I must return to fight with the prince of Persia. And when I have gone forth, indeed the prince of Greece will come. But I will tell you what is noted in the scripture of truth. No one upholds me against these except Michael, your prince. And so you got a number of things that are being spoken about there. Number one that I want to point out is in verse 21, Michael is called Daniel's prince. When you get to Daniel chapter 12, in verse 1, it says, at that time Michael shall stand up, that the great prince who stands watch over the sons of your people. And Daniel's people are the Jews. And so Michael, the Archangel, that's who's been spoken about here, is connected with the Jewish nation. And he's the one who stands up for, as it says in that passage, stands watch over the sons of your people, the Jews. And so Michael is connected with the Jewish nation. And he's called a prince in that passage, right? And so when you're looking at this passage, these are kings of, or princes of Persia, kings of Persia that are fighting against an angel. So right there, we know that we're not talking about a video game in the first place, and we are not talking about humans, because humans can't stand against angels. So famously, 185,000 Assyrians were killed in one night by one angel when the Assyrians were besieging the city of Jerusalem. And so we don't have any power over angels in that kind of sense as far as being able to thwart them and that kind of thing. And so obviously, we're talking about, when we're talking about the prince of Persia or the kings of Persia, we're talking about kind of the power behind the throne. And so Michael is the power behind the Jewish people. And so the kings of Persia would be the power, or the prince of Persia would be the power behind the Persian people. And this has to do with what the Bible calls principalities and powers. So in the New Testament, in a couple of different places, it talks about the fact that, for example, in Ephesians chapter 6, we don't fight against flesh and blood. We war against principalities and powers in the darkness of this age, and spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenlies. And it's talking about angelic beings, basically. It's talking about angelic governments. And so one of the things that you got to keep in mind when you're talking about Satan's schemes, and he does have schemes, that's also in Ephesians chapter 6, is that he's going to try to be efficient about the way that he attacks humanity. And what's being spoken about here is that this angel was withstood by the prince of Persia, and Persia was top nation on the planet at this time. So the Persian Empire had overtaken Babylonians had overtaken the Assyrians, the Persians had overtaken the Babylonians, and the Greeks were going to overtake the Persians. That's why the prince of Greece is mentioned in verse 20. And so I believe that these are angels that are the power behind the throne in each one of these situations. And you just got to think of how Satan would want to work in humanity. If you want to affect the most people on this planet, what you're going to do is go to the most powerful capital on the planet, and you're going to try to deceive people, and you're going to try to work through those men to bring about as much chaos as possible. And so it just makes sense that Satan would go to the capital of the most powerful nation on the planet at the time of Daniel and have his minions at work there. And so this is what is taking place in this situation. This angel is coming to Daniel, who's in the kingdom of Persia at this point, and one of the fallen angels that is trying to influence the kingdom of Persia resists him, and that happens for 21 days. And it's not till Michael the Archangel comes and helps out this angel that's being sent to Daniel that he's freed from the battle with the kings of Persia. And he again indicates that he's going to go back and do battle with them. And so that's kind of a peek into the spiritual realm that we don't normally get. And so you see angels battling with each other. And so that's what's being spoken about there.
Yeah.